Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to do a review on this Keurig K-Café Smart Coffee Maker. This has a built-in frother. It can make lattes and cappuccinos and just a regular old coffee. So the first part of the video I'm going to show you the coffee maker, and then the second part I'm actually going to make a latte and a cappuccino. Okay, so let's talk about the coffee maker. It's got this built-in frother that I really do like. Now, it's got a whisk in there that's going to froth it and heat the milk at the same time. But it's got 4 settings. You can froth cold milk. This 1 through 3 is for heated milk, but it'll give it more foam or more froth the higher the number. Now you cannot get the bottom of this. This is where the electrical connection goes, the electricity goes into it, so you cannot get this part wet. So clean up, you just got to clean up this area here. Like how it has a built-in base for it right there. So I really love this water reservoir. I love that handle. It's a circle. It fits on there really nice. You can put it on there any way you'd like. It's got a lid. I've got the tall handle water filter in there, but you do not need the water filter to operate the machine. So I think the coffee maker just looks really nice, very elegant looking. So the reason they call this a smart coffee maker is you are able to connect it to your Wi-Fi, which connects it to the internet. You do not have to connect it to the internet to operate it though. So up at the top, it has multi-brew technology. We got 5 needles on the top, the single needle on the bottom, and it's got Brew ID. So if you connect this to the internet, you get Brew ID, which means it's going to take a picture of the top of the K-Cup. It's going to look at it and it's going to send it to the internet and come back with the recommended brew settings. So it'll set the strength and the temperature for you. You still have to pick the size you want to brew it, but it will come up with the recommended strength and temperature. Okay, so let's talk about the control panel. We're able to brew a 6 ounce, 8 ounce, 10 ounce, or 12 ounce cup of coffee. We've got several different strengths and temperatures. Okay, so I put a K-Cup in there and mine is already connected to the internet. The Brew ID recognized it as a falling for maple and it lit the signature brew button. Now, I can change that, but it sets the strength and the temperature. I still have to pick the size of coffee I want to brew. But let's say I want to pick a different strength. So I can go all the way from balanced, rich, robust, strong, and intense. That's 5 different levels. And I can also pick 6 different temperatures. I can go warm, warmer, hot, hotter, extra hot, and max hot. Once I do that, then it comes off the signature brew. But if I want to go back to the signature brew, just press that button right there. Now I can brew that as a coffee or as a shot. And the neat thing about the shot is it gives me a single shot or a double shot option. Now the double shot is 4 ounces through a K-Cup. The single shot is 2 ounces through a K-Cup. We also have an over ice button. So if I press this button, it's going to brew that K-Cup at 6 ounces. And I still have to press this button here, but it's going to brew it. You can brew it over ice. So it brews a coffee K-Cup at a concentrated brew because it knows it's going to melt some of the ice. So that's what's going to make this coffee maker so versatile. Brew over ice, you're able to do a shot. Now, that's a concentrated coffee shot. It's not a true espresso shot, but being a really concentrated coffee, it does mimic the taste of an espresso shot. And being able to froth the milk and heat the milk, you can come up with some really nice drinks. And again, you're doing this all with any standard K-Cup. So these are coffee K-Cups. I can put them in the machine. I can brew a coffee with them. I can brew 6, 8, 10, 12 ounces. Now 12 ounces through a K-Cup is that's pretty watered down for me. There's 2 tablespoons of coffee in a K-Cup. I typically brew my coffees on 8 ounces. But when I put a coffee K-Cup in here and do a shot, it really does give me a really concentrated coffee. So I've got one in there. Let's do a single shot. So it's brewing the single shot and I'll show you how concentrated it is. Okay, so it's going to brew 2 ounces through that coffee K-Cup. It's coming out really hot. We're already 176, 180. Got up to 188, looks like, 190. Okay, so here we have 2 ounces. That's a really concentrated coffee. We can froth some milk and dump it in there. So let's talk about the milk frother. It's got this whisk in here. You can take it out. It's on there's a little notch you got to line up to get it in. It's got a handle. You've got a minimum and a maximum mark. Now the minimum mark is 4 ounces. The maximum mark is 6 ounces. Minimum is mainly for cappuccinos. The maximum is for lattes. Now down here on the milk frother, you've got 2 buttons. This is like the start button. This is the selector button. That's going to walk you across these different selections. That is going to be blue for, it's going to froth it cold. It will not heat it up. But 1 through 3 heats the milk and froths it. Now 1 being less froth. So you typically want less froth with a latte. Number 3 is going to be more of that milk foam, more froth for like a cappuccino. So you cannot use the milk frother and the K-Cup side at the same time. It's either or. So when it's brewing the K-Cup or the shot, you cannot use the milk frother. But when you're frothing milk, you can come over here, you can get the K-Cup ready and press the K button, but it won't brew it until after it's done frothing. So this frother works really good with whole milk, skim milk, almond milk. I'm going to use 2% milk. So let's fill it up to the minimum line. Okay, so now let's use the selector. It's the little line I'm pressing. You can step through it. There's the blue. There's 1, 2, 3. Let's go 3. And now this is blinking. Now hit that, and that starts it. It's a very quiet milk frother. Now the milk frother will not beep at you to let you know it's done. You just got to kind of watch it when that K button goes away. That means it's done, and you can kind of hear it. But it's going to heat that milk up and froth it at the same time. We're already at 95 degrees. And then here's where the fun comes in. With different sauces, white chocolate, you can make a white chocolate cappuccino or latte, mocha. I've got caramel. You can use like these French vanilla syrups also. So let's take our concentrated coffee. Let's add a little bit of caramel, about 2 tablespoons. We'll save some to add to the top. Okay, so it's done. It just stops. That's got a lot of foam on the top. And it's really hot. That's about 156. That's a really hot milk. So now we're just going to dump it into our concentrated coffee. Then you can spoon the froth off, or it will dump out on the top like that. Now I like to drizzle just a little bit of caramel on top. Now that's a delicious drink. And again, this is where the fun comes in with all the different kinds of syrups and flavors you can mess with. So let's just go over cleanup real quick. You're going to open this up. There's the 5 needles. There's the coffee K-Cup. Here's our frother. We got to take this to the sink and rinse it out again. Don't get that bottom part wet. And don't get water around here either. So let's talk about K-Cups for espresso shots. So sometimes the darker roasts tend to do a little bit better when they're concentrated like that. But what I'm finding so fun is there are so many flavored coffees out there now. Like this is a salted caramel mocha flavored coffee. This makes a really good espresso shot. Now, when you add the milk and this espresso shot, it's still just a little bit bitter. So you still have to add a little bit of syrup or just a little bit of sugar to kind of help take away that bitterness to make it a really smooth tasting drink. Okay, so let's use some unsweetened almond milk. It actually does really well in this. Let's fill it up to the maximum line. That's 6 ounces. Right there, which is basically right above the whisk. Now this time I want less froth, so press that line button. That's the mode button. I've got just the one LED is lit. Now press the K button. Again, it starts, it's frothing it. You know, I think that whisk is turned at a lower speed. Okay, so let's put our coffee K-Cup in. Let's do a double shot this time. You're just going to close the lid. It's going to pierce the top and the bottom all at the same time. We're waiting on the Brew ID. If you don't have it connected to the internet, you won't have to wait on that Brew ID. It's talking to the internet. It's giving you the signature brew, but we're going to do a shot. Let's do a double shot on this one. Now I can press the K button. Brewing will begin once the frothing is complete. So it's going to wait on the frother and then it's going to brew it. Okay, so the frothing is done and the Keurig is starting to brew the shot automatically. So that milk right there is at 154. very fast coffee maker. And again, since I did a double shot, that's going to be 4 ounces. It's a little more coffee, not quite as concentrated. It's going to be super hot also. End up with about 165 usually. About almost 170. Yeah, that's really hot. Okay, so let's make a white chocolate one this time. About 2 tablespoons. Now let's add our milk. Again, not as much foam this time. And the almond milk didn't make much foam at all. Now, when I did almond milk with the 3, it made a lot of foam, and 2% milk makes a little bit more foam. But you end up with a really hot drink. Yeah. 150, it can drink it. It's not super, super hot, but yeah, it's hot. Here's the fun part, add a little bit of whipped cream to the top. And then drizzle just a little bit more. And then what I like to do is just dribble a little bit of chocolate mocha. You can use Hershey syrup. Just a little bit over the top. These make wonderful drinks. So you can see here we got a latte, we got a cappuccino. Again, let's go over cleanup again. You got to go over there. Sometimes this does have a non-stick surface, but sometimes it does stick just a little bit. Take the whisk out. Reach in there and grab it, and then clean that all up. Up top, here's the K-Cup. Okay, so now let's make an iced drink. You can make an iced coffee. I've got some really good tasting K-Cups that I like now. I've got the Snickers, but this pumpkin spice brew over ice works really well. And you can use just a regular pumpkin spice. There's a lot of different companies selling pumpkin spice K-Cups now, so you can use just a coffee pumpkin spice K-Cup. Okay, so I've got a 14-ounce plastic tumbler filled with ice. Take the drip tray out. We can set it right there. Let's take this. Let's install the K-Cup. Again, you can use just a coffee K-Cup. Any flavor you'd like. Okay, so sometimes the Brew ID will recognize that as an iced coffee, but I'm going to press that button. That's iced coffee. And it already selects 6 ounces. And then I'm going to press the K button. I'm also going to froth the milk on cold when I'm done with the coffee. So it brews it like a normal K-Cup, but towards the end of the brew, it does cool the water down a little bit, so it won't melt the ice as much. So it's brewing the coffee. It's going to ramp up to around about 190. And again, that's 6 ounces. It's melting that ice, but you end up with a really cold, refreshing drink. And then towards the end of the process, 196, but then it cools down right away. Yeah, that last little bit of water it runs through. Okay, so again, you can stop right there and drink it like that, but let's add a little bit of milk. So now the blue icon is lit up. The little blue LED is lit up. Now I'm going to press the K button. So it's still going to spin this milk and froth it, but it's not going to heat it up. And we can see our iced coffee. Still got a lot of ice left. Yeah, that's a pretty refreshing iced coffee still. Okay, so the milk frother is done. It's got some nice, real rich, creamy milk. And this is the best part. Oh, these are so delicious. That's an absolutely delicious drink. You can even mix in some syrups if you want. So if you use just a regular coffee K-Cup, you could add in some, some vanilla syrups. These syrups come in all kinds of different flavors. Put your tumbler lid on, and that's a very nice look. That's a very nice drink. And again, so many possibilities with this coffee maker as far as coffee K-Cups come in so many different flavors, adding the different kinds of syrups. But being able to froth that milk cold, now I got some left over, I added a little bit too much. It just makes that drink silkier. I can dump just straight milk in here, and that's a good drink too. But being able to froth cold milk, getting it kind of stirred up, aired up, making it kind of smooth and silky. Makes these drinks taste so much better. Okay, so now let's make just a standard cup of coffee. Put your K-Cup in. You might have noticed when you close it, there's a little light that comes on. It kind of takes a picture of the top of the K-Cup. That's the Brew ID working. So it recognizes it. That's the signature brew. Again, I could do a shot, but let's do a coffee. But let's say I don't want to, I want higher temperature. I want my coffee extra hot, and I want my strength all the way up to intense. I can still change it. That went away, and now I got to select what size I want. So say I want 8 ounce. Now, let's say that's going to be my standard cup of coffee every time. I can make that a favorite. By pressing and holding this favorite button, it'll assign it a favorite. So it says its favorite is saved. Click OK. So it's saved as favorite 2. I've got another favorite in here that I saved earlier. So now I can switch between my favorites. I can go in the app on my phone or tablet, and I can name those favorites. I can say that's Tom's coffee favorite, or somebody else's name. And at any time I can go back to the signature brew, just press that button, or I can go to favorites, and then there's my other favorite. So let's do 8 ounce favorite. Let's brew it. So this coffee is going to be on the maximum strength and maximum temperature. Now the strength, it's just going to be a longer brew. They're going to run that water through the K-Cup slower to kind of give you more flavor of the coffee in the K-Cup. Now let's check the temperature. So it's 195, 196. So it's ramping up pretty good, 198. That's a very hot cup of coffee. 200. Yeah, that's extremely hot. 201 I saw. 202. 203. Very hot. You're going to end up with a very hot cup of coffee. Okay, so here's my cup of coffee. Still, it doesn't take very long at all to brew it, even on the most intense setting. 173. That's a very hot cup of coffee. And this makes a really good cup of coffee. Again, if 8 ounces is too watered down for you, just go down to 6 ounces, or you could bump it up to 10 ounces if you'd like. That's why they give you the option of the different sizes. Okay, so the reason they call this a smart coffee maker, let's go over the app. So you can put this app on your Android, iPhone, on a phone or a tablet, but you click it. You will have to log into the Keurig website. So if you've ever logged into the Keurig website, you can use that username and password, or you'll have to create one. Okay, so this is kind of the home page of the app. It's a very good app. But if we click on this little icon down here, it says Brew. It's going to connect to the brewer, and see, I just brewed a honey K-Cup. There's my favorite. I can name that favorite if I'd like. I can change it here with all the different settings, robust, max hot. I can even start a brew from my tablet or phone. Back to the home page, we click on the brewer button right here. There it shows my brewer. It says it's online. I can turn it on or off. I can schedule a brew, and I can go to brewer settings. Under brewer settings, I can turn the high altitude mode on. I can go in there and tell it to connect to the smart devices. Okay, so back to this homepage. They've got this, they're showing you how to make drinks now. So under Cafe Creations, it says these are recipes you can use. So let's do like an iced coffee. Click on that. These are all the different iced coffees. Find one you like. It tells you what the recommended K-Cups are, what the time, what you're going to need. But it's got this barista mode. So if you click on this, it takes you to a step-by-step. So it says the first thing you're going to do is brew over ice into a plastic cup. Put the milk frother up to the minimum line on the ice setting. Drizzle some caramel sauce in there. Add some sugar or sweetener. Brew a coffee pot on the single shot setting. And then pour it in. So that's kind of a neat little feature. Okay, so there is no power button. The coffee maker will turn off after 5 minutes of inactivity. And in order to turn it on, just lift the handle or press any button. That turns it on. Now let me show you the special menu. Press these 2 arrows at the same time, it's going to take you to the menu. Then these arrows are going to light up. You're going to scroll through the different menu settings. You can change the Wi-Fi password or log on to a different Wi-Fi. You've got descale mode. You can start the descale procedure in this menu. You've got the descale alert reminder. You can turn that off now. So if you don't want to be reminded after 250 brews to descale your coffee maker, you can turn that off in this menu section. We've got high altitude. If you live in like Denver, that's at an elevation of 5,000 feet above sea level, you need to turn high altitude mode on. Language, you can change the language. Water filter reminder. You're supposed to change that water filter every 2 months. This machine will remind you every 2 months to change it. You can turn that reminder off. Brewer info, support, and you can do a factory reset. So say your Wi-Fi is messed up, things not working right. Come in and do a factory reset. It gets rid of everything. Back to like you brought it out of the box. Now, in order to get out of the menu, you got to go back to the settings and hit the exit button. So Keurig says nothing about the coffee maker's dishwasher safe. Everything should be hand washed. So the lid, the water reservoir, you should wash it once in a while. Okay, so let's talk about this multi-brew technology. So the worst thing you can do for a Keurig machine is leave a K-Cup in there overnight or for 2 or 3 days. That can clog the needles. So always take your K-Cup out. Now you'll notice you do get some coffee grounds on these top needles. That's normal. Now, if you don't do freshwater rinses, those coffee grounds will eventually make it around into your coffee, but if you stay up on top of the freshwater rinses, that takes care of it. So we're gonna leave this open, close the lid. We can do a hot water brew. I like to call them fresh water brews. So just press the K button and it says, okay, hot water. How much hot water do you wanna run? I can do 6, 8, 10, let's do 8. Press the brew button. So I do these at least once a week. That cleans those upper needles and that bottom needle basket area. These freshwater rinses are also important. So say somebody did a tea or a hot cocoa and then you want to do a coffee. So in between those, you can get some residual flavor. So if somebody did a tea and then you come in and do a coffee, do a fresh water rinse first before you do the coffee. Now there are a few coffee grounds floating around in there. That's normal. Okay, so now let's open it up. Yeah, everything's nice and clean. Those are just really good to do. So I'm very happy with this coffee maker. Again, you don't have to connect it to the internet. You get a few more functions that way, but it makes some really, really good drinks. It's fast, it's convenient. So be sure and check out my unboxing video if you want to know the dimensions of anything. I did all the dimensions and power and wattage. So I like that you do not have to connect this to the internet, but if you do, you do get a few more bells and whistles, and being able to look at stuff on the Keurig app is a little interesting. And it will track how much coffee K-Cups you're using, and you can set up auto order. It'll reorder once it gets down below a certain limit. So I am going to do a video. I'm going to open this up and see if it's got the same type of heating element in it with the reset thermostat. I'm also going to do a descale video on it. So they do recommend you descale this every 3 months, but you are going to get a reminder after 250 brews whether it needs it or not. But the nice thing about this is you can go in that menu and you can turn that descale reminder off. This is a very stylish looking coffee maker. I love the milk frother. I thought it did a really good job frothing milk. It actually heats the milk up really hot. I love the water reservoir, very stylish, very easy to fill up. So yeah, the shot button now, being able to do a single shot or a double shot, that's a game changer. That's something new that I haven't seen before with the Keurig. Very nice feature. So I did have a couple hiccups with the Brew ID. I would put a K-Cup in and the Brew ID kind of wouldn't go away a couple times. That was a little annoying, but other than that, it's been working really good. You know, and the nice thing about it is, so say the Brew ID is not working and say the internet's slow, you can just go in there and disconnect it from the internet. And then this is still a really good coffee maker. She's my little buddy behind the scenes while I'm videoing. She's keeping an eye on the production, making sure it's going good. So let's go back to the app. I was very impressed with this recipe feature. It's come a long way. So they call it Cafe Creations. And again, if you don't want to do the barista mode, you know, you can just click on one and it'll give you the directions. You know, it'll say how to do it. But that barista mode, I think that's going to be pretty cool. Again, it's real basic right now, which is good. I would like a few more details on these steps, and I think they will eventually. But man, it's pretty nice. I'm actually very impressed with that part. And then you can set this up so your Amazon or Google device, you can talk to those, and it can do things for it. I'm not sure I'm going to use that, but that is a possibility. You can do remote brews. I can do a brew from my tablet or phone. You know, I'm probably not going to do that. What I'm mainly using the tablet for, so I mainly use the tablet for is naming my favorites. And you can add more favorites if you use the tablet. You know, it's a little easier. You know, using the sliders to do it is pretty easy. And then if you click this little heart button right here, it'll want you to name it. And then this is where I can put a very specific name. So I can put my name and then say create favorite. And my name will actually show up on that screen on the coffee maker. So that part's kind of cool. Okay, so I think this is going to be a very popular coffee maker. Let's talk price. I paid the full price, $250. That does seem a little high. I am impressed with the features of it. You know, they sell one similar to this. It's not smart. That's sold at Walmart for $100, so it's about half the price. I got to think this one's going to go on sale, but it's a very nice coffee maker. I will be doing a comparison with the older K-Café, with the milk frother that we all remember, and with the one from Walmart. They got a K-Café Essentials from Walmart. I'll be doing a comparison with it. And again, I will be opening this to see what it looks like on the inside, to see how repairable it is. I'll also be doing a video of cleaning the needles, how to clean the needles. If your needles ever get clogged, you can clean them with a paper clip. So check out my next video. I also got the new Keurig K-Supreme Smart coffee maker. So they released a K-Supreme Smart Plus, or K-Supreme Plus Smart coffee maker. But this year they released just a K-Supreme Smart. So I'll be doing comparison videos with those. Also detailed video on that one. Yeah, these were just released in, I think, September, October of this year. So I think these are going to be very popular around the holiday season. Again, it just looks really stylish. I think the possibilities of making so many different drinks are out there. They make really good tasting drinks. Being able to froth that milk on cold and hot, it froths it really hot. That's important. Getting the milk really hot is important. So again, I really appreciate everybody's support. I hope this video helps. Leave comments in down below if you got questions about it, and look forward to my next videos on it. And again, I just really appreciate everybody's support. If you could, please like and subscribe.